Guys, welcome back for another episode stateside of Foxes Abroad. Back at the big garage. Yeah, bring you inside for a quick update of what we're going on. I've been driving the F-150 since we got back. It's a good little truck. Needs some work, but it's doing the job for what I need to. Here we are. Sorry for the echo, but not a whole lot of change. Probably the videos I saw probably a little more than a year ago. When I finally got the garage built, it was empty and we moved in. So we've been slowly going through boxes of our household goods. Got a pile over here we're getting rid of. We got a burn barrel outside, burning what we can. I don't have any kind of a garbage contract yet for this place to be able to get rid of anything. So we haul some stuff you can't burn back to my parents' house and so slowly get rid of it. But here, I don't know if you saw this little thing in the way. This will be going up here soon. Benpack 10 AP lift. Just picked it up here. I'll show you some pictures. Had the old F100 out with the trailer. Went and go picked it up. Was kind of worried that the boards on the trailer were a little weak. Trailers was sitting outside for over 6 years, and some of the boards are really thin and weak, but it didn't punch through. So me and my dad are gonna get this thing going on here soon. This area of the floor has been poured extra deep to support the lift. And up there in the ceiling, about there's a 220 jack. Actually, no, sorry. There's the 220 jack for powering this thing. I had to get my, show you another picture here, how I got it off the trailer myself, because they put it on there with a forklift. But I used the cherry picker, got it off late last night, and it's been bebopping around. So F100's doing good. Mach 1's still sitting toasty in the bubble. Things are happening, so I'm hoping a couple days next week, a couple new projects are going to show up. Kind of excited, and I don't know if I'll have time to film what's going to be happening, but hopefully something's going to show up there, and something's going to show up either here or on the other side of the F100. So be right back. All right, several days later, things have been happening. Just had my dad here today trying to set up the lift. They're just standing with the crossbar kind of set in place with some bolts. We got to drill some holes, a lot of holes. Dad's a hammer drill, 3/4 inch bit, and it gets pretty darn hot after 2 holes. It's too hot to touch. So I let it cool down, keep drilling holes. Gonna take a couple hours to knock all these out, but as soon as that gets done, and we level the posts, start tying stuff in. The cables are kind of routed for now, just because they didn't really sag down any ways to keep it nicely oriented. So we just kind of routed them over. It's just sitting there, and we're waiting to move on to the next step after the bases are leveled and secured. But yes, the big news, the other, not really project cars, but the other 2 cars in my fleet showed up today, and here's the first one. So this is, Fox has started it all for me. This is my 85 GT. I bought this, is it almost February of 2000, so that is 24 years now. So I bought it when I was over in the UK off a guy. It was 75,000 miles original. It looked fantastic. The interior was amazing because of the no UV light that they had in England. The interior is still pretty amazing. That is still the factory dash with no cracks. I did re-dye it to match because it faded. That is still the factory steering wheel with no cracks across the top like they all do. Still the original seats. The carpet was replaced. I probably should redo the console die. I've replaced the insert because the rubber went, but just to make the rest of it match. But yeah, Well, back when I did the body work, I put a 6-point cage in it because even though it was 75,000 miles original, it looked amazing. The British are really good at hiding rust. I'll tell you that much. Because I got a couple years later to New Mexico, and it started rusting when I was in New Mexico, and nothing rusts when you're out in the desert. So started digging deeper, and man, this car was smoked. So this is, even though it looks amazing, underneath this car was probably the biggest restoration project I ever had. Because the only thing original on this car are the front and back bumpers. I'd managed to save the quarter panels, and that's it. So I got a rust-free donor car in New Mexico. The doors were replaced, new pattern front fenders, fiberglass hood, replacement hatch, even the roof. This is the first car I ever changed the roof on. This was back in '03 when nobody had really done it yet. This was a sunroof car, and it was rusting all around the outside of the sunroof, rusting in the corners. So this is the first attempt of anybody that I knew of at the time. We used to be part of a website called Four-Eyed Pride, and swapping the roof back then was new territory, and I couldn't afford to pay anybody else to do it. So I bought myself a compressor, bought myself a little 110 volt Lincoln MIG welder, and I went after it. So, and heck, what was it, '03, '04 when I got it painted? It's still looking amazing. And much rather it be a sunroof delete car, a car with a sunroof, but yeah, just fingerprints and dust. So yeah, but everything on the body was changed. Even the floor is a little rough. Maybe one day I'll get into that, but yep. What are the highlights? Well, other than the interior of the cage, I got a shift light right smack center in the dash on the column. An old school 170 mile an hour BBK conversion for the speedometer. Wideband 0.2 meter vacuum gauge. Because it's still, I wanted to keep it true to the 85 and keep it carbureted. But let me, well, hold on to the hood for a minute. So, did an 8.8 swap back in the day. Later, then did rear SVO brakes on it. Hated them because they're not very good on a non-SVO car. So then later swapped it to SN95 rear disc brakes, which are much better. 31 spline, Moser axles, 3-inch studs, original anniversary wheels, and these are super hard to come by, those center caps. With that type of Cobra in it, that came on. Only was available aftermarket through Ford on their 99 Cobra wheels that they sold over the counter. So I took those off those set of wheels that I had on this thing back in the day. Here's a picture of it in that configuration. And I used these center caps in these wheels, so that's not going to see that around too much. But Borla exhaust, Pro XS's. I got Team Z upper and lower control arms on this car in the rear. Coney shocks for now. I like to change it out to get some strange adjustables on there. But it's got a rear anti-roll bar, Cobra taillights, 93 Cobra spoiler. Heck, when was the last registration? I was paying on registration even though it wasn't used, but that's when I stopped driving it in Florida back in '17. So when I originally brought the car back to the States in 2001, I registered it here in Pennsylvania, drove it all the way across country to New Mexico, and just kept the Pennsylvania plates on it the whole time. Now, one interesting thing of note when I restored this car was you couldn't get this weather stripping back in the early 2000s. I had an NOS passenger side one, but I couldn't get a driver's side one. Yeah, searched and searched and searched, and back then, the internet wasn't what it is today for parts. So what I had to do off the donor car, I had really nice quarter glass that I upgraded. I don't want to say upgraded, but I had to use this trim, this window combination on my 85 because I couldn't get the weather stripping. And that's what drove the only non-85-ish thing other than the spoiler that I would have liked to keep, but I just couldn't because I couldn't get the parts back then. So that's just a sign of the times. I mean, wouldn't mind switching it out at some point, but there's nothing hard driving me to that at the moment. So, but that's the story of this style quarter glass on this car. And manual mirrors, still manual doors. These mirrors are super hard to find. 13-inch Mach 1 front calipers, you know, on the same, you know, anniversary wheels in the front. I got 275 40 Nitos on the rear and 245 Nitos on the front. 2.5-inch Cal Cervini's hood. Still the original bumper. Those are NOS Marshall fog lights with the Ford covers on them. So underneath there, they're still brand new. Never had them off, never used them, but you know, all the emblems were new. And let me pop the hood here, bring you right back. All right, the old monster. So this is a 408 Windsor Old Eagle kit back in the day. This is one of the very first neutral balanced kits they ever sold. So I got SRP pistons. It's about 10-to-1 compression. When I first built it, I had AFR 185s on it with a custom Flowtech induction roller cam. I later changed the cam because it was a little too radical for the street. So it was a lot better for the street, and then I went to AFR 205 heads. Edelbrock ported Victor Jr. intake manifold. I got a Pro Systems 950 CFM custom carburetor on it to keep it true to the 85. You know, Durspark distributor with good guts in it. Still Maxim Motorsports strut tower brace, camber caster plates. You know, I got Cobra size master cylinder. You know, 3G alternator. I got to change the pulley configuration or something because it still squeaks when you start it up. You know, good breathers on it. You know, a lot of good parts in the engine. Best I could do was 8th mile drag strips with this car. I never got on the quarter mile yet, but I was in the 698 at 100, and I was just getting rolling because this car is not meant for the 8th mile. It's built for the quarter mile, built for the street, and but it was still a lot of fun. And that was on a set of 10-inch slicks. So I'm looking forward to cleaning this thing up a little bit more. You know, haven't seen it in over 6 years, but this is my OG Fox body baby right here. All right, so let's bring you over to the other project, or the other new member of the fleet.